back. So 40 points still cut. There's about 37 odd minutes to go for close. 7.529. Sri Shankar and Avinash Gorashkar are with us. Sri, let's just start with you. You like three names: Bharat Forge, PI Industries, Axis Bank. Let's talk about PI Industries. Bharat Forge, Axis Bank. I mean, I guess we discussed quite a bit. PI Industries.
Yeah, it's into the agrochemicals business, and that company has got a strong earnings growth momentum, visibility in terms of exports for the next few years, and 40% of the business coming from the CRAMS business. I think from a visibility point of view, continuously from the growth perspective and their capex, incremental capex being met through internal cash generations, etc. We continue to like the story and a strong growth, earnings growth momentum as well. So all put together, this stock is something which we believe can give you handsome returns over the next couple of years.
Right. What are peers for PI Industries?
No, when you compare the entire segment, you tend to compare UPL, you tend to compare Rallis, you tend to compare Dhanuka. There is quite a few number of stocks in the industry per se, but the business model need not be the same for everyone.
Yeah, and what exactly does PI do?
I said it's into agrochemicals. It is also does a custom synthesis and everything, basically for exports. 40% plus of their business comes from export as well.
Right, agri-chemicals, not pesticides, insecticides, etc. Or that's what you're saying.
Agrochemicals. Yeah.
Right. You track this one, PI Industries?
Yeah, I think the agro space, Prashant, definitely, they have a unique business model. In fact, the custom synthesis unit, I think, is something which the market is keenly awaiting for some sort of big announcements. Because on the on the agrochemical side, I think given the fact that the monsoons have been weak, it would not be any surprise that I think this business could possibly see some weakening if the monsoon completely fails. But the custom synthesis businesses are about 40-45% of the revenue. So clearly, I think on balance.
What is custom synthesis?
Basically, they do some sort of contract, CRAM kind of research for pharmaceutical companies, and this is before a molecule is launched. So the preparatory work for the molecule actually gets done, at PI Industries end, and it's like a internal research kind of job. So probably a strong relationship and a very complete trust on the data which is supplied by these pharma companies is a must. So I think PI has done a reasonably good job of building a good global clientele here. So I think that is one big plus point for the company.
Well, there's been general interest in all these agri kind of names, right? Kaveri Seeds, Insecticides India, Dhanuka, of course, fertilizer stocks. Actually, a lot of names.
I think, Prashant, the very
Monsanto,
fact that,
of course, Rallis.
These stocks have been in the limelight largely because I think the government has clearly outlined that agriculture will be a clear focus area for the government. A lot of incentives are probably expected in the budget, and I think clearly the more important trigger is, I think, if allocations for agriculture get increased, and obviously which is a primary requirement for the masses in the country. I think that would be probably the reason the stocks are in the limelight. And clearly, I think in terms of earnings, last couple of quarters have been good for Dhanuka, for Kaveri Seeds. Clearly, I think the business opportunity is huge, but there could be a short-term break, as I was saying earlier in the program, that a weak monsoon could possibly drive sentiment, slightly negative towards these stocks.
So there are, the space itself is divided, right? Agri-chemicals, there are seed companies, micro-irrigation companies, fertilizer companies. So you think all of these will do well? Or you need to pick and choose?
What happens is, there are some winners and there are going to be some others which will actually start to catch up because some of these companies have really done well. And clearly, from a point of view of consistency in earnings, many of these companies never had the consistency of earnings, as the other gentleman said. You have seen in the last few quarters, consistency in the earnings have come about. Even UPL, which we are still optimistic on, probably gave a 39% return in 1 month because it came out with that excellent profits numbers during the last quarter. So the kind of growth prospects that you expect and the kind of consistency that you expect, that's going to differentiate over the next few quarters in terms of earnings and in terms of stock performance as well.
Anything else you like in that space, Sri?
No, we also like UPL. No, not that we don't like UPL. In fact, the PA and UPL are preferred picks in that particular segment, especially with UPL using their surplus cash that they had to pay off their debts and the kind of growth which UPL continues to have in terms of an earnings, etc., which gives us more confidence in that segment. So again, to my mind, the crucial factor is going to be how consistent are these companies in terms of earnings, because a lot goes on expectations, thrust on agriculture, and that thrust on agriculture is going to benefit in the domestic space a lot of these companies. Why I'm specifying the domestic, because the thrust on agriculture by the new government will help in the domestic space, and the overseas or exports is going to be determined by global factors and factors in each of these countries specifically. If it's in custom synthesis from the contract manufacturer who has actually given you contracts and so on and so forth. So a whole lot of these things are dependent upon some other external factors, but the domestic factors also have turned into be better. But having said that, if the monsoon turns out to be bad, then there could be some kind of a difference. But for seed companies, I would view it as monsoon is more important for seed companies when it's actually sowing time. After that, seed companies are not going to be much dependent upon the monsoon factor, whereas that's not the case with other kind of companies. And a cold climate or where a lot of moisture is there is good. Generally, it's going to require more of pesticides and so on and so forth, etc. So I think monsoon has got different parts by itself, and different parts will lead to different companies in that segment doing well or not, whichever way the way it is.
Okay, both of you like, just moving on, both of you like Bharat Forge. Avinash, you want to go first, Bharat Forge?
I think, Prashant, within the auto space, it's one of the largest forging players in India. I think at least export-wise, it's got a very strong presence in the US, almost 25% market share in the axle market. They have a European subsidiary which is also now doing well. And more importantly, the domestic market is clearly poised for some sort of recovery, especially the commercial vehicles and the passenger car segment. In the CV segment, Bharat Forge is a very large player, and more importantly, in the non-auto business now, Bharat Forge has made a lot of effort in putting a lot of investments in the power, in the aerospace kind of businesses, which I think probably is going to give them good amount of traction over the next couple of years. So I think a good entry point would be probably to buy the stock and put it as a portfolio stock. My sense is in the next 12 to 18 months, one could probably see a price target of 720, 730.
Hasn't it already done a lot?
It's done. I mean, but there are very few choices, Prashant, in this space. If you see, there are other forging companies available, but then clearly, there is a supply shortage. Most of the FIs, most of the larger cap investors we talk to, I think are definitely knowing that, in a kind of revival, kind of upturn, when a CV cycle does happen, I think the multiple benefits for this company would be phenomenal, because we have not seen the CV business actually taking off for them at all.
Yeah. Sri, you want to come in, Bharat Forge? I'm assuming you agree with most of what Avinash is saying.
We view it as two stages. One is the CV and the non-CV business. The non-CV business is also doing very well, and that kind of a growth that you see in the non-CV business is extremely good. And as and when the CV cycle in the domestic market recovers, that also adds up to the momentum. That's the first part. Second is the low capacity utilization the company has. The company has extremely low capacity utilization right now. Despite that, they are making these kind of numbers and returns. Number three, and as and when the capacity utilization increases, over the next few years, we don't see them requiring a large amount of capex. And whatever incremental capex is going to be funded by, till the time the capacity utilization increases to that extent, I don't see a large amount of incremental capex coming on. The fourth, the kind of ROC the company has is extremely low. We expect to see a quantum jump in this return on capital over the next 2 years. Fifth, the kind of earnings growth momentum that you see in the stock, That's also going to be over, I think, if I'm not mistaken, closer to 80% earnings growth in FY14. And over the next 2 years also, very strong earnings growth, though not in the FY14 levels, should continue to happen in Bharat Forge. So that's the reason we like this stock.
You know, there was a story. I just want to. I don't know what publication this is, but it said it says that Bharat-linked stocks can become can do very well. And I mean, if you think about it, 99 to 2000, anything which had software in its name did very well, right? 2003 to 2005, 6, anything with infrastructure in its name did very well. So, I mean, apparently this time it's Bharat. PSU, a lot of PSU stocks have Bharat, and of course Bharat Forge is Bharat as well. But that's, I guess, more simplistic conclusions. On a more serious note, Nifty is down about 72 odd points or so. So it's sudden sell-off. 80 actually. Make that 80. 1%, full 1% drop. 7489 is where the index is. And I think ONGC and Reliance are the two which are actually pulling it down. RIL is down at the day's low, 1008, 4%. And you've got ONGC, which is down about 6% or so as well. 26 odd points. That's 411 on ONGC. If you can quickly put the top losers on the index up, I don't know if you can see, is there anything else which is going down? Yeah, DLF is down 3, Bank of Baroda, NTPC, Kotak Bank, IndusInd, but none of them would have the pull that ONGC and Reliance have. Grasim is down 2.5%, JSPL, Coal India, etc. all selling off about 2.5% each at this stage. I'll get back to market, I mean, you know, here and now in a bit, but let's just run through the other two names. Avinash, you like Lupin?
Yeah, in fact, Prashant, from the pharma space, we have been advising our clients to actually buy into Lupin, because we feel that over the next, say, couple of quarters, at least over the next 12 months, company should definitely benefit. They have a strong export base. Even the domestic market growth has been in double digits. And I think within the pharma pack, I think clearly this is one of those companies which has got very little kind of, fluctuations in terms of earnings growth. So probably, I mean, somebody has a medium to longer term call should actually accumulate the stock. Our sense is around 1150, 1200 is a decent target, for Lupin.
Sri, you like Axis Bank, right?
Yeah, we like Axis Bank. We believe that the bank has been able to hold its asset portfolio much better than the market expectations, and we continue to believe that given the kind of strength that we have seen, given the kind of pre-provisioning operating profit growth the bank has, and the relatively lower kind of stressed assets as the market was expecting, we expect the kind of valuation differential between an ICA and Axis to narrow. It has narrowed. It will continue to narrow. Probably it should go into 2 times price to book by for FY16 levels. So that's what we expect, and we continue to like that. That we believe that the kind of valuation that Axis Bank should quote is much higher than what it is, given the kind of strength that it has shown, and resilience is just shown in terms of assets.
I wanted to ask you about talking about Bharat Forge earlier, Sri. Do you like Amtek Auto?
See, I haven't looked into it, Amtek Auto, to that extent, so I don't want to comment on it.
Okay, it's had a phenomenal run. We had the managing director at Amtek on the show a week back. Very interesting conversation, very bullish sounding, very confident. A lot of debt though. They've done many acquisitions. Avinash, you track this one, Amtek?
Yeah, in fact, Prashant, just talking about Amtek, I think they have a group company which is separately listed, which is Ahmed Nagar Forging.
Yeah,
I think from a mid-cap perspective, Prashant, I think, if, we have seen a lot of action in the auto mid-caps, especially the auto component space. I think this is one company where probably if one takes a 6 to 12 month kind of call, I think large business, roughly about 2,000 crores of top line last year, a bottom line of around 175 odd crores. So I think there is scale in this company. More importantly, a large vendor to Maruti, hopefully Maruti expands their products. They're talking about a small diesel car in the 800cc segment. So incremental business should come in. My sense is I think this could be an interesting mid-cap, probably, good upside, possible over the next 12 months.
So you'd prefer Ahmed Nagar Forgings, right?
Yeah, obviously. I think, see, because in relative terms, clearly there is a price upside and a kind of incentive to buy the stock.
Yes. Okay. And this market sell-off that we're seeing, I mean, it was down almost 85 points. We're down 70 now. It's all expiry volatility, Avinash?
I think partly expiry volatility, Prashant, and also partly for the fact that, I think the July series is going to be, as I said earlier, is going to be quite volatile. I think, if we do get good monsoons by the first week of July, I think probably you could see some good buying coming in. But otherwise, the general consensus in the market is that as far as policy related decisions, what we saw yesterday, I think has been a big disappointment. I think till November, December, one would not see any big progress on that front. And I think clearly the budget would be a difficult exercise. I think it's not going to be easy for most of the sectors to expect goodies. My sense is I think it would be a more of a bitter pill, and clearly, some more, I think, one more budget probably the government would be really making clearly what its intentions are. But in this small budget, I don't think industry can expect something big, probably just a roadmap which would actually make things clear from the BJP.
Got it. Thanks very much, Avinash, for dropping by. Thank you, Shri, for being with us here today. Thank you, both of you. Let's take a quick break here. The market, I think, is down again, 1%. So it's basically been pulled in both directions. 74 off, was down 85, came down to being just down 60 points, now down 74. So there is this up and down happening now. 7494, last 21 minutes or so left to close. Back in 2.
As the new government takes charge,
we have to restore back the pace of growth.
महंगाई को दूर करने का हमने वादा किया.
we bring you India's biggest budget coverage.
How the budget math is going to actually stack up.
What India Inc. wants.
We should look at FDI in defense.
It should be more entrepreneurship oriented.
How markets look at it.
The market just shot up like a rocket.
And what this budget means for you.
The tax policy has to be clear and transparent.
Join our biggest experts, policymakers and economists.
There will be reinforcement from the government.
For pre-budget discussion and post-budget analysis.
We are going to get into the real nitty-gritty of budget.
Only on NDTV Profit. Brought to you by NSE.